Welcome to the EOB podcast, where we talk about the weekend box office and the new openings this week. I am Ben, and unfortunately, Sen won't be joining us since he's out and about. He's still on his holiday break. So, welcome to 2018. Happy New Year's, everybody. Today is January 3rd. We're returning after about a week's break. So, how about we jump right in? We have a couple movies that were opening around Christmas holidays, and then there was kind of like a dull on around January 1st for people to catch up on their celebrations, ringing in the new year. All in all, it was a pretty good, I guess, Christmas. Some movies got a considerable gift, so to speak, during that break, during that holiday. So how about we jump right in? Coming in number one over the weekend, we're counting, this past weekend, is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. It pulled in 52 million, 26% drop off from the previous weekend, and the domestic gross right now has already crossed 500 million, with 517 million. Worldwide, it's at crossed a billion already. Let's compare that to the previous Star Wars films. Right now, The Last Jedi is third in domestic gross, behind Star Wars: The Force Awakens and Rogue One: A Star Wars Stories, and it's gonna pass Rogue One maybe by today, just less than a million off from Rogue One's 532 million. And worldwide, it's already second behind Star Wars: The Force Awakens. 2 billion for Force Awakens and about 1 billion for The Last Jedi, but we will see how if it can get another billion. But maybe not, because The Force Awakens is a special circumstance, since it's the new movie that's without the influence of George Lucas, and it's directed by J.J. Abrams, and new cast in addition to the old ones, kind of like the mash of the old and new. It has all the beloved characters from the previous series, not the previous series, but the original series, like Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, Chewie, and R2-D2, C-3PO, etc., etc. And even though this one cannot match, I guess, the level of hype, as a Force Awakens, it's still doing pretty well in itself, because it's already 1 billion and 531 million here, and counting. It's still going, by the way. It's still earning like 52 million this past weekend. Next weekend, assuming low drop off, it's gonna still maybe in the 40s or so. So it's still raking in the bucks overseas as well. So will it gross more than the Force Awakens? Probably not, since it opened lower than the Force Awakens, but it's still pretty good. Second highest opening behind the Force Awakens. And next year we're gonna have another spin-off of the Star Wars movies. Let's see, number 2 is Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. This movie surprised me. I wasn't counting on this movie to open huge, but it did. It pulled in about 50 million over the weekend, going by the 3-day figures. Let's see, for the 3 days, I thought it could open to 15 million, but it opened to way more than that. It opened to 35 million. It's the best performing movie of the new releases. And right now, domestic gross is at 185 million, and worldwide is 342 million. I didn't have high hopes. The trailer left me wanting, but people seem to like it. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, Nick Jonas, Bobby Cavalli, they're all able to pull in the audience. And like we said, Dwayne Johnson has been box office gold. The majority of his movies perform well, outside of a few clunkers here and there, but all in all, they perform well. And the budget for this movie is only 90 million, and it already grossed 342 million worldwide, 185 million of that domestic so far. It's still going, meaning good things for this one. And with this performance, we can see more Jumanjis coming along, maybe with Dwayne Johnson starring. Remember, he has all those Journey movies as well, so this just adds another one to his fantastical journeys. This is pretty much like another Journey movie for him, like special effects with all these creatures, etc., in a fantastical land. So that's Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. And how about we move on to Pitch Perfect 3, a movie that I thought would perform better, but not. I thought this movie could open to 55 million, since a 50, but we were both disappointed. The movie only opened to about 20 million, so you can see that it is a dip from the previous movie. We look at the Pitch Perfect series, right? It crested at Pitch Perfect 2. That movie opened to 69 million, roughly 70 million, and went on to make to gross 184 million. And Pitch Perfect 3, 20 million, and right now the domestic gross is only 68 million. But this dip is kind of unexpected, since Pitch Perfect 2 was well reviewed, 65% on Rotten Tomatoes. So you expect the goodwill from that could carry over to Pitch Perfect 3, but it didn't really, mainly because people were going to watch something else, mainly Star Wars and Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. But still, a decent opening considering the budget is 45 million, so it was okay. So disappointing in the sense that both Sen and I were expecting bigger things from this movie, but it seems like the interest level has kind of tapered off, and we kind of felt that in the trailer as well. We said that, hey, it's kind of running out of ideas, and how many singing competitions can you go to? How many times can you bring the crew together, to perform in these singing competitions? And the only way forward for this movie right now is either to go solo, I believe, like the band, breaking up, going solo in their own movies, or rebooting the series for another Pitch Perfect movie. So if they want to go that route, they can. But Pitch Perfect 4, maybe sort of with the original crew, maybe sort of they could if they want to, but they might want to go in a different direction. Alright, The Greatest Showman on Earth is number 4. It pulled in 15.5 million over the weekend. It opened to about 8.8 million. And where did we have this movie? Okay, so we say 3 days, 10 million, and Sen also agree with me. So we're kind of right there with The Greatest Showman on Earth, because this movie is about the founding of the Ringley Circus or something like that, which with Hugh Jackman in the lead as a out of work salesperson who got the idea to get all these people, weirdos, freaks, to come together and put on a show, and everyone having a good time. And we question how wide of an appeal this movie has, and we said about 10 million, and it's kind of right there. So this is more of a prestige movie, a biopic, and it performed about where we had it. No surprise there. Since the subject matter is kind of a niche, right? The circus is going out of business, so right there, mindshare right there is not great for this movie. And like I said, it's performed about where we had it. The budget is 84 million, and the domestic gross right now is about roughly 50 million, and worldwide it's at 89 million. So not a great grosser for Fox. But it's one of these prestige movies where there's put on a show, numbers, musical, and budget's kind of high. But hey, you have Hugh Jackman, maybe it will have staying power in theaters. From all indication, it did, because it has an uptick in the gross, because after the holidays are over, they can go catch up on a couple movies. And let's see, the reviews wise for The Greatest Showman on Earth is not that good. 55%. So for a movie like this, it really needs reviews. And let's see, and A cinema score. So we'll see how long or how far it can go theatrically. But so far it's at 49. Maybe when it ends its domestic run, it'll probably surpass its production budget a bit. But it can only drop from there, right? It'll probably end its run at around 90 million or so. Domestically. Alright, let's move on to number 5. Ferdinand is the animation by Fox, by Blue Sky, I believe. Let's see if it's by Blue Sky or not. I believe it's by Blue Sky. Let's assume it's by Blue Sky. It pulled in 11.4 million over the weekend. Domestic gross right now is 55 million, and the budget is 111. Let's see, worldwide is at 128 million. So, not doing well domestically. Since there is Coco in theaters already, but that's has already been a while. It has been in theaters for a while. So it seems like not that huge of an interest in Ferdinand, but maybe it can eke a couple more million, maybe 30 more million in theaters, or maybe. So right now it's at 55, so it could in its run, who knows, maybe it could cross 100 million. It depends on how it lingers in theaters, right? But we'll see. I mean, it's only in its third weekend. It could stay a couple more, maybe 3 more, but with the drop of the box office, with every subsequent weekend, it'll drop more, maybe half or so. So like I say, it'll probably end its run in the 80 to 90 million range domestically. All right, number 6 is another animation by Pixar. This one's by Pixar, Coco. Pulled in 7.5 million over the weekend. Domestic gross right now is 179, and worldwide is at 550 million. Let's see. Right now, going by domestic gross, it's number 16 in domestic gross all time, just below Cars 2. Cars 2 is 191. Coco is at 182. So it'll definitely outgross Cars 2 and Toy Story, which is number 14, but it'll probably fell below Ratatouille. All right, so that's Coco. Let's move on to number 7. Is All the Money in the World. This movie opened on December 25, I believe, right? Yeah, it opened on Christmas Day, which is on a Monday. Opening weekend is of about 5.5 million, 6 million. We said this movie would open to like 7 day. We go by 7 days, 15 million and 20 million for Sin. 15 million, Sin 20 million. So let's look at how we go about this. Let's see. We go 7 days, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so 7. So in 7 days, it grows 12 million. Right. So seven days it grows 12 million, 12.7 million. So no, I was kind of close. I say 7 days, 15 million, Sin say 20, and it's closer to my projection. So 12.17 million. So yay for me. I'll get to gloat when Sin comes back. So this movie stars Mark Wahlberg as a troubleshooter who is hired to bring back a kidnappee. I guess Michelle Williams' son. I think this is based on one of these real life stories, and as we said in the previous podcast, movies that starring Mark Wahlberg, his movies that are based on real life events don't usually perform that well, and this one kind of didn't, but it depends on the box office and how it'll stay in theaters, right? But 15 million, a little bit high there, for me. 20 million for Sin, but they only pulled in 12 million. So that means the interest level, as we predicted, is not that high for this movie that's based on an event that people might not know about. But because of who's in the movie, Mark Wahlberg, action thriller, it pulled in an audience. But we'll see how far it'll drop off in the second weekend. Number 8 is Darkest Hour, directed by Joe Wright, starring Gary Oldman, John Hurt, Lily James, Christian Scott Thomas, etc. Let's see. It pulled, and I think this is a biopic. This is a World War II biopic, I believe. Yeah, about Winston Churchill. It pulled in about 5.5 million over the weekend. It's already in its 6th week of release. It expanded. It's a limited release, and that expanded to over 900 theaters. And let's see, domestic gross right now is 18 million. So this is one of these award movies for the award season. A drama, about Winston Churchill and his decisions during World War II, or on the brink of World War II. Let's move along, since we have a lot of movies to go through. Is the movie Downsizing, one of the new releases over the Christmas holidays, starring Matt Damon, Alec Baldwin, Kristen Wiig, Reese Witherspoon. It actually opened to about 5 million, and the domestic gross right now is at 17 million. let's say it pulled in about 4.7 million over the weekend, and this is one of the movies I projected the movie to open to between 3 to 5 million. Sen said 8 to 10 million, and it actually opened closer to mine. Yay! So 3 to 5 million, and it's right between where my projections. So this movie stars, as I said, Matt Damon. He decided to downsize his life, meaning shrink himself down, to save money. As Sen said in the previous podcast, like a roll of toilet paper can last you a long while. A bottle of water can last you months. So it's a great way to save money. And, he made the decision to shrink himself down, but his wife had cold feet at the last moment, and she didn't. And, he had to make that work, right? And he's living in this community with other small people. I said, the concept, while novel, about interesting, like people might not be that interested in it, taking literally. And it kind of bore that out. The budget is 68 million, so it's one of these movies that's directed by Alexander Payne. He has his fans, but the budget for this movie is kind of high for the movie, the type of movie that it is. We will see if it can break out once the holidays are over, maybe, but I doubt it. But who knows? And let's move on to number 10, Father Figures. The comedy starring Ed Helms and Owen Wilson about brothers who are out to find out who their father is. Because when young, their mom, played by Glenn Close, have various sexual adventures with these various men. And they are played by Ed Helms, Vane Rhymes, J.K. Simmons, etc. And I guess comedy ensues, laugh ensues, or not. So the movie opened to about 3 million, and the domestic gross so far is at about 12 million. Let's see our projections for Father Figures. I said 8 and Sen said 15, so we were way off on this movie because we thought that Owen Wilson at Helms, can pull together a comedy that a broad comedy that would have a wide appeal, but apparently not. So it only had a domestic gross of about 13 million so far, and the opening is not that high, 3 million. So it can only drop from there. All right. Let's move on to the new long wide release this weekend. We have Insidious 4, or Insidious: The Last Key. James Wan produced along with Jason Blum. James Wan started the series. It did well. The series did well. The first movie, the first Insidious, opened to 13 million, went on to make 54 million. The second Insidious opened to 40 million, went on to make 83 million. These are domestic figures. And the third movie took a dip a bit. The third Insidious movie opened to 22 million, and its domestic run with 52 million. So you can see that it follows the trajectory where it peaked with the second movie, and then it fell off from there. So this movie, we see Lin Shaye returns. She is the, I guess, ghost hunter. She can delve into the further, which is the afterlife, I guess, and to exorcise ghosts. And in this one, she returns to her childhood home to confront the demon or demons she set free way back when. As we can see, if we go by trend, we expect this movie to dip, right? The box office, but we don't know if we'll get a resurgence or not. But, just going by trend alone, I expect this movie to dip. Let's see, the third movie opened to about 22 million. So if we have that, I think it could open to around, I think it would open to around 12 million, having a 12 million opening or so, because the series is already in its fourth movie. That is this fourth movie, and unless there is something to rejuvenate the series, it can only decline from there. The interest level has tapered off, and people might not, be that interested in following the storyline, really, since it's already kind of like done. And this movie has a feeling of kind of like the Hellraiser series. almost, with the guys with the key for fingers and various methods of torture, I believe. So yeah, 12 million opening, but I wouldn't be surprised if it opened more or less, right? Horror movies are hard to tell, but I'll go with 12 million. So that's it for the podcast for this week. Hopefully we will get back together with Sen and talk more in the next podcast. So until then, have a great 2018. Bye-bye.